Welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning. Joe and Kim Palo with you once again on this Wednesday. We are joined now by our good friend Ron Moore, Bradley County historian. And Ron, we always say that like it's just an official title. Ron is going to talk to us about something very interesting, very dear to my heart today.
Right. Well, I'm going to talk about WBAC. Excuse my cold today. I've got that deep voice.
That's right. That's right.
Manly man.
Not that little whitey voice usually I have. Well, in 1940, about 1942, Bob Jones College here, which later became Lee University. That's a whole story in itself. It was it's three different colleges before it was Lee.
Lee, right.
So, but they decided they needed a radio station here in Cleveland. They were going to start a radio station, so they applied. And there was 50 other applications for radio stations across America, not for Cleveland. They were all denied. Because in 1942, the FCC said the only thing that they wouldn't give a license to anything that might use materials that might be used in the war. So towers and metals and different things, that copper wiring, they couldn't get their license for that reason. So, the war had a lot of effect that. By 1945, things started easing up a little bit. And the FCC issued a license to a guy named Robert Rounsaville. How's that for a name? From Cedarstown, Georgia.
Okay.
And him and his wife started WBAC here. Now, WBAC, those call letters was assigned by the FCC. No one here picked it. It does not mean Bradley in Cleveland.
Okay. That's what Bill told me forever.
But it was just exact. Now, the FCC may have took those call letters for that reason.
Right.
But it had no significance whatsoever.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing, after they got the license, there was 5 13-year-old boys skinny dipping in Mouse Creek in January. Now, this is what's in the history books. And, you have to remember Mouse Creek, this end of town, was farmland. Matter of fact, where Shoney's is and where Shoney's used to be, the Bank of Cleveland, all that used to be in there, Cleveland High School. That was the poor farm. Okay. And that's where they had actually, if you were poor, you wouldn't live there. And there was also a huge farm there to help feed the poor. So, but they were swimming, and they were Raleigh Stennett, Johnny Anderson, Paul Brewer, Billy Walker, and Bobby Samples. Robert Rounsaville hired them to dig some trenches for them, to lay some copper line that would go to the towers and different things. And they dug 10 4-foot trenches and laid copper wire in there. It was 4 feet deep, each one of them.
Wow.
They got paid 30 cents an hour, and they made a whole whack of
made a killing.
So these 13-year-old boys did that?
Yes. So
it's just digging a trench, Joe.
It doesn't matter. You try to get 4 13-year-old boys to dig 4 foot,
they had to offer them money. And
30 cents.
Well, they got 30 cents an hour,
They were
Joe. That's big
overpaid.
bucks.
Well, apparently they worked very hard because they all earned $10 each to do that. So
I hope they didn't spend
this
it
is
all
where
in
child
one place.
labor laws began right after this.
Right. I can imagine.
But they came on, the first broadcast was Monday, June 18th, 1945. The station operated 17 hours a day from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. at the very first. They had 250 watts, almost the power of Whoop. And they were at 1340 kilocycles. In other words, 1340, where WBC still broadcast today. Most of their broadcast was local in nature, and Reverend Littlefield, Emmy Littlefield, in 45, came on and started a 15-minute program at 5:45. He backed it up a little bit, and of course that's where it started. Good morning to everyone.
Maybe we could do some taping?
Yeah.
That's what he would say every morning when he would tape.
Then there's a guy named William Moore started a group called Sweet William and the Rhythm Rangers.
All right.
And they provided live music several times a day. All music was live back then. So,
Right.
And then in 1949, that group went on to sign, as the Country Cousins, signed the first contract with Acme Recording Records out of Columbia, Kentucky. Reportedly the first group ever to sign a recording group contract out of Cleveland, Tennessee, thanks to WBAC. Now, I'm proud to say William Moore is my uncle, and my dad was the bass player of the Country Cousins.
Well, there you go.
So they sang on CLE every morning. There was a gentleman named H.E. Ballard who sang and done things around here. Matter of fact, H.E. one morning, they recorded a little song for H.E. The recording wasn't big back then, but Reverend Littlefield was supposed to come on, and they said, now for Reverend Littlefield. And H.E. Ballard come on and said, rolling them barrels down the mountain. Like I say,
No kidding. That's very interesting.
So I have pictures of my dad and my uncle and the band playing in the old WBA studio.
Where was
in the
that
old,
located?
Well, it was down at where the cable office is, ironically, when I first started in the cable business, on Central Avenue, the two-story building.
The haunted house.
Right house. That started as a house, then it became a funeral home, then it became a radio station, then it became the cable company.
And you heard about the haunted stories from that.
Oh, yes, I know about the haunted stories.
Who knows about
I
it?
worked in the building. I know about the haunted stories.
Well, yeah, and Corky's got one. Corky was there one morning, like about 4 or 5 in the morning, getting ready to go on by himself, and he kept hearing somebody calling his name, Corky, and he was like, "What?" He thought somebody else was there. Nobody else was there.
Well, I was sitting there one day in my office when it was the cable, and my TV kept changing channels. And I started thinking about the ghost, and it changed channels, and I would change it back, and it changed channels.
I just turned it
No
off.
kidding.
I'd take the TV
Well,
outside.
you have to
Now, unless it kept changing it to Channel 5.
well,
Then I can
this was
understand.
before Channel
This was
5.
before Channel 5, that's right.
But you remember
Was there TV before Channel 5?
This was an old radio station, and it had all the windows throughout there. And my office had a sound window in it, just like everybody else. Well, it was my office staff coming around the corner, turning the remote. So it wasn't
they
a
were
ghost.
messing
But you
with
did think for a minute.
Yes,
Yeah.
I started thinking, well, here's the ghost coming back.
You know,
You know, Joe's very first job here in Cleveland was at
That's
WBAC.
exactly right.
He moved to Florida here, and Bill Thomason was a general manager, and Joe started and held on to the night shift. He
I
was
did.
a night shift
In fact, that's where-
because there was no FM before then. I mean, a lot.
Oh,
of
we still
came-
spun the 45s,
Oh, yes.
but that's where the famous line came in. That Bill once said to me, "Palo, I could get any orangutan to do this."
Right.
That line right there.
And then he repeated it to me, which caused shoes to fly. And
sat with
I can
me
hear Bill
for
saying that.
many years.
yeah.
I think
I
Bill,
was a kid.
Bill got to the station in the late 60s. I think he took ownership in the early 70s.
Yeah.
And went on until it sold out to Brewer Broadcasting.
Yes.
But they left there and went up to the Monument Building.
Yeah.
Of course,
Oh,
That's
not-
where it was when
and,
Joe came.
even in those early days, local
81.
sporting events became a very, very important thing.
Yes.
And I still have letters that my dad received when he was singing on WBAC. And so
No
these stamps
kidding.
were 2 or 3 cents a piece, but that was a lot of money back then. So people would send in requests, would you please play this song for, then there'd be 8 pages of names they wanted to read off to hear their names on the radio. So I thought it was comical to see all the people who, not just the letters that they got, but all that, they wanted them to name off, literally pages after pages.
Pages
of
of
people.
Everybody that
Yeah.
lived in the county.
That's what they
right.
did, and that's,
All
some
their
of the-
family members.
Some of the popularity radio station. There was a farmer down on Dalton Pike who bought his first radio. He heard about this newfangled radio.
Right?
It said it took him a couple of weeks to figure out how to get the thing on and how to tune it in. And after then, he thought it was great. So, radio changed a lot here. And of course, local broadcasting, Corky Whitlock coming
Yeah.
in 1960. Of course, we talked about that over 1,000-something basketball games,
Yeah,
800-something
yeah,
football
yeah.
games, and really made a big change in WBAC.
In sports.
And if you're my age and even a little older, you will probably remember growing up listening to Corky in the morning. And they had the
Absolutely.
John 'em Down store, and Lum and Abner.
Coming after.
So-
I grew up to that. I mean, I'm not as old as you are, Ron, at all.
No, nowhere near it, I know.
Who is?
Yeah, but going to elementary school in the morning, I mean, I got up, I was in the 60s, and I remember Corky all my life being on WBAC.
Yeah, Corky has been just the anchor in this community as far as with radio. In fact, back in the day when it was just BAC and CLE, a lot of communities were starting to develop other FM radios was coming in, but Bradley County held its own with 2 AMs that were very prominent in the community, both success stories in their own right, and they were AM radio stations. And what was weird, of course, when I got into radio at BAC, somebody told my dad one time that was in radio. He said, "Listen, your son will work at about every radio station in that area wherever he's living within 10 years." And my dad told me that. I said, "No way! I am here for life." It was about 3 years, 4 years later.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you a really funny, quirky story. When I was younger, probably 6 years old, we had a dog that had puppies. Unfortunately, had to have a cesarean section.
Okay.
And wasn't able to breastfeed. And so my dad called Corky in the morning and asked if he could announce if there was anybody that had a dog that had recently had pups that could breastfeed our puppies. Corky was just lost for words on that particular one. And I remember Corky going, "Now, I don't know how, we need a dog that can breastfeed." And Corky was losing a little words. First time I'd ever heard him. You talked about Karen Mills here. Karen Mills, good friend of her. I knew her mother and her brother Keith, very good friends. We all went down to Black Fox and Bradley together. And Corky didn't announce her winning shot. And
I told Kim,
it was the very last second. George Starr got an award-winning photo off of that. The shot left her hands as the clock was like a second, so that it was showing that her last second shot, literally, the buzzer went off and then it went in, so it had left her hands. George got that shot, and Corky, on his second time losing it, started yelling that Bears win, Bears win, Bears win, Bearets win, everything like that. And he called it her hootenanny shot.
Her hootenanny shot.
So she come around the top of the key and just shot.
See, and of course, that was for the great coach Jim Smitty, may he rest in peace, who has gone down in history as the winningest coach in high school girls basketball, or basketball history. They didn't even girls.
In any sport.
Yeah, any sport.
He was, and I don't know if that's still true, but at one time he was the winningest coach in America in any sport, pro thing. So, and Coach Smitty was a great gentleman. Matter of fact, on Whoop, our radio show that we do every Saturday morning, in a few weeks we're going to actually do Coach Smitty.
Good for
you.
He
was a tennis star.
Well,
also,
tell us about
he was
that,
a boxer.
Ron. We got to get a pet on here.
All
and
right.
Tell us about your Saturday morning show. It's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock every Saturday on Whoop FM 99.9. And this week we're going to be talking about MC Hedrick and his stores that he had here.
Okay.
Later became Bilo.
And tell everybody, it's not just you. It's you and your lovely wife, Debbie.
Yes, she's really, I just push the
She's
button.
Right, and
she's
she's
the brains behind
like
the
it is
program.
here.
Right.
kind of semi. It's semi like it
the
is.
brains behind the program. Well, thank you, Ron. You're always
thank you, buddy.
so
Thank you.
And let's one week, let's
And
pick the haunting
Sophie.
thing. That's an interesting topic, maybe. The hauntings like we were just talking about, maybe. All right. Well, we have 71 degrees currently. It's 7:04. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Kathy Irwin. We've got a puppy. And then we've got, of course, Chief Dewey Woody, Bradley County Fire Department. We'll be back with
He's
more.
not as cute as a puppy, but he's all right in his own right.
You can still pet him.
We'll still pet.
And he'll still play if you throw a ball and all that.
I'm Kathy Guy with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. Call us today for all your personal insurance needs. With 28 years in the insurance business, I have the solutions and pricing you are looking for. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge Chrysler and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television. Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m., or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
How would you like to look and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Anti-Aging, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. He is a licensed physician with the Board of Anti-Aging Medicine, offering affordable Botox injections. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. In addition to Botox therapy, rejuvenate and smooth wrinkled skin. The micro-laser peel treats skin conditions associated with aging and active lifestyles. If you're looking for safe and affordable anti-aging treatment, call the Ford Center for Anti-Aging at 423-614-0535, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest.
Welcome back. Tennessee Valley this morning. Good morning, everybody. 707, 71 degrees, and we are now joined by Kathy Irwin of PALS, Pets Are Lovable Society.
Yes.
Right?
Good
And
for you.
Oh, see, I'm telling you, it's
You're on this morning, Joe.
I
I mean, I'm
tell
still
you,
like, 2 days
yeah.
behind, and Joe's just rattling off stuff.
We've got a little friend that is we don't know if it's family member, but we know it's from the same rescue of a little
Right,
friend
from
you
the-
bought a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yes, I had Kimmy 2 weeks
that's
ago.
right.
Right,
And
that
this
was
is
the
Chloe?
This is Chloe, and I also have Charlotte at my house.
Okay.
And
cute as a button. It had this underboat thing going
Very
on.
cute.
She
She's-
just want to smooch.
she is some combination of Pekingese, Boston Terrier, and Pug.
Right.
And we don't know for sure what she is. She's much smaller built than most pugs, so we're not quite sure what combination she is. We know for a fact that she is very food motivated, like most pugs are. Chloe has a little bit of a skin condition, so she's going to smell like Paragard shampoo for a while, because that's the special shampoo that we use.
Now she's available for adoption now.
She will be available Saturday.
Saturday,
She
okay.
will be.
Saturday
she
at
is
Petco,
ready.
guys. That's the place to be on Saturdays if you want a new pet.
She will need to have her nails trimmed by a professional because she has the solid black nails, and they're very long, and you can't tell where the quick is. And so usually the best thing is a mild sedative and let the vet do it.
Right.
Probably when she's spayed, because she has not been spayed. We think she's between 1 and 3, but unfortunately when we do hoarding situations, the dogs often appear much older than they really are.
Right.
For instance, Kimmy appeared to be very old, and they thought she was only 3 to 5. But this little girl, like I say, she's got some skin issues, but we
Not bad.
yeah, it's really not bad.
So that's it. That's as big as she's going to be.
She is full grown.
She's full
This is
grown.
the
So see,
biggest
there you
she's
go.
going to
And
be.
for those of you who may not have seen a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even last week, I forget time, but there was a hoarding situation in town, and they did a major rescue, and so several people of PALS have those animals from that rescue, and Kathy has, and they look. Now this one does look like she could have been a sister to Kimmy, or
She does.
or a cousin or something. But these are rescued dogs, and they need a good home, and they will be at Petco on Saturday for the pickings, for you to pickings. But now Kathy's going to make sure that you're a good family. She's not going to let them just go to anyone.
The one thing I have noticed about Chloe is she should not be an only child, and she should not belong to someone who is gone all day unless she has a playmate. The first day I get animals, I always put them in very large crates so I can watch them, and she absolutely destroyed a crate that our Rottweiler had stayed in. Now that she is with another dog, she has not destroyed anything else.
She just wants to
So she wants company. She's I was going to tell you how insecure she was, but she's not acting it this morning. Her tail is wagging, but she has been probably, had the most issues. But considering the situation she came from, she has very few issues.
Right.
Well,
Now,
she seems to be just as friendly as she can be, very, very lovable.
Oh,
and
she
she
is.
looks like she would make some family, and I bet she would be great with children because she likes that interaction. And she would find her a buddy and a child in no time.
She loves to chase a ball. She loves
just
my
like
cat
just like I
toys.
said with Dewey, same thing.
Chief,
He's Dewey to me. He's my
you
friend.
just got on to me.
You.
He got on
Yes,
to me
you.
this morning because I called you
To
Dewey, and he
you.
was like,
I said disrespectful.
I know.
It's Chief
so,
Woody.
And then I
Exactly.
said Chief Dewey, then it was a whole
Well, it's not
other
Chief
thing.
Dewey. It's Chief Woody.
Well, thank
Yes.
you so much for
Oh,
bringing
you are
her
so
this
very
I don't know how we got off into
welcome.
that.
I mean, and Joe's all excited because you have the
I
turquoise.
do.
If we put an orange
Now-
one around, it would be a dolphin
That-
mascot.
it already is
Yes.
with that color. But Kathy, if somebody before Saturday is interested in getting with you about Chloe, what's a phone number they can?
284-3104, or they can call Petco, and Petco will put them in touch
you in
with me
touch.
if they can't remember that.
But
And,
very good
you know,
temperament, you could tell.
Yes,
so,
but she's ready to go. She's
she's
like,
plenty-
let's,
yes,
let's,
I
go,
say
let's,
she-
let's run around.
She needs, like I say, she needs to not be, alone.
All right.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Kathy.
Beautiful.
And we
You
look
are
forward. I know
so
you're not going to be here
welcome.
next week, but we will see you week after next.
All
And we
right.
look forward to what you're bringing.
And don't forget, Pals is at Petco this Saturday from 11 to 3.
Yes.
11 to 3 o'clock. Chloe will be there, and a bunch of other animals that need a good home. The little kitten we had from last week will be there too.
Yes.
And that was
So,
adorable.
Mister. Poor little thing.
Mister.
He still doesn't have a name, so he's still Mister.
Well, that's why you got to take it home, and then you give him a name.
However,
if you're-
he is parasite free now.
Oh, wonderful.
His gums have
Okay.
pinked back up, so he's healthy enough
So
to
he's
be
ready to
adopted.
go.
He's ready.
He's
All
ready
right.
to climb your couches.
That's
and your
right.
Draperies.
Don't forget
Yes.
Saturday 11 to 3 at Petco. Pals will be there with lots of animals that need a good home,
Right.
so you need to make your way out there. Kathy, thank you so much for being with
You're
us.
so very welcome, and thank you for having us.
And thank you, Chloe.
Thanks, Chloe.
All right.
Goodbye.
Well, we're going to be back with Dewey, Chief Woody, Chief Dewey, however you prefer to know him as, but he is our Bradley County Fire Chief. We'll be back with him and more of Tennessee Valley this morning. After this, stay right where you are.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge Chrysler and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
How would you like to look and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Anti-Aging, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. He is a licensed physician with the Board of Anti-Aging Medicine, offering affordable Botox injections. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. In addition to Botox therapy, rejuvenate and smooth wrinkled skin. The micro laser peel treats skin conditions associated with aging and active lifestyles. If you're looking for safe and affordable anti-aging treatment, call the Ford Center for Anti-Aging at 423-614-0535, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television, Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m., or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Again, Joe and Kim Palo, your host today. Hope you're having yourself a good Wednesday. If you have to be at work by 7:30, you got about 14 minutes, so you better hurry. And if you're not up yet, then you're going to be late. We are joined now by Chief Dewey Woody of the Bradley County Fire Department. And Chief Woody, thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here.
We wanted to talk a little bit. We haven't had a lot of rain lately, so we've got a lot of dry areas. Everybody's yard, I see people watering their yard trying to get the grass to turn semi-green. What are some of the things that people can look out for to help stop, not start some of these fires that just seem to just happen, at the drop of a hat now?
The one thing would be not start. That's what we would.
No fire.
No
Don't
fires.
play with
We
fire.
would actually really like to ask the public that if you really don't have to burn anything, don't burn anything.
Right.
As my wife alludes to me and this is her famous line: if your grass is crunchy, that indicate to you things are very dry.
Yes.
And everybody's grass is
Yes.
crunchy.
Right, we were
good.
talking before about our chihuahuas are making the big steps because they're like, that's not
Yeah.
what
It's
we
not
used to."
natural.
No.
But we are under extreme dry conditions currently.
So now, what? I guess how do these fires start? I know these flash fires that just start up. I mean, what causes the fire? Obviously, somebody has to have something to ignite them.
I use the term carelessness to start with.
Okay.
And people will leave fires unattended. This fire on Saturday, they burned 80 acres out off of Julian Road, out off of Chatta Valley, and burned all the way over to Benton Pike, burned 80 acres. 80 acres. And endangered many, many homes. We had to evacuate people for safety purposes.
Wildlife.
I thought we were going to lose a house or two. We were successful in getting the fire stopped and containing it.
Wonderful.
It took us 3 days, though.
Wow.
Lots of resources, lots of manpower. But that's a fine example of someone who was burning legally, meaning they weren't burning products they shouldn't have been burning. They did leave the fire unattended, and wind got up and pushed that fire out of the area that was being burned, and the result was what we saw on Saturday.
Well, it seems like that, and too, it starts to get out of control, and then you don't know what to do. If you're in a situation like that, say that you are burning legally, and you've done, crossed all your T's and dotted your I's, but all of a sudden it gets out. What's the best way? I mean, call you guys. Let's
call us
you
first.
guys first, and
Call
then
911 first.
and get
and
some
if you
water.
had the ability, well, we would like to ask the public if they're going to do burning, have water there prior.
Okay, that's a good idea.
There's a lot of things one can do to try to prevent a fire from a burn that one might be doing illegally. One would be to clear all things out from around the area that you're burning. In our situation, one of the ways we do stop fires that are in the wildland areas, rake down to the bare earth. That's what our firefighters are doing. We build lines in to try to stop the fire, because if you take the fuel away, the fire will stop. So we ask that you clear the area around any area that you're going to try to burn, then have water available.
Right.
And one key thing would be to water that area down prior to start lighting a fire. That would hopefully slow anything down. Now, we'll tell you this fire on Saturday and how extremely dry conditions are. We're having spot fires 200 and 300 yards away from where the fire was. Spot fire is an ember carried by the wind outside the boundaries of where your fire's at, getting in dry conditions and starting other fires. So we were busy not only with trying to contain that, but trying to keep other fires from jumping up, and that was happening around us. So those are things we have to be aware of, as well as an individual who would be burning anything.
Well,
burn responsibly. And is there a place they can go to, a website or something that kind of gives them tips to kind of tell you? Because I mean, right now, if I were to hear this, by the time I got home, I would have no memory.
The Tennessee Division of Forestry,
Okay.
state of Tennessee, handles all the burning laws and regulations for the entire state. It is also the regulatory agency for burning.
Okay.
Even though it is in Bradley County, we don't have authority. We have authority to go out and put out fires and control people who are burning, but Tennessee Division of Forestry is the agency that enforces the rules and regulations.
Okay.
So they have a
if you're
website.
gonna burn something, go there first and take a look to see what the precautions are, because we wouldn't really know.
Well,
Joe.
what I'm sitting here trying to think is, all right, in the scheme of things, you know, is it necessary for a resident to burn anything anytime? I mean, I know people do that, but do you really have to?
Saturday's situation was started in a debris downed area from our tornadoes that occurred in April. So folks were trying to clean up their property with downed trees and things of that nature.
Sure.
So they were burning legally, meaning legally there's no permit situation currently. Let me talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Tennessee has a permit system that requires anyone who wants to burn to obtain a permit from the Division of Forestry. 478-0337 is the number for obtaining permits. Forestry takes your name down, asks what you're burning, tells you what the rules are, can't burn after dark, those kind of things. That permit system runs from October the 15th to May the 15th. That's because leaves come down, things begin to die off, and fire will spread more rapidly in dead leaves or grass that's dying versus when things are green. Green leaves on the trees, green grass, that doesn't burn very easily. So our permit system runs from October the 15th to May the 15th. So if you're burning during that period of time, you have to have a permit.
Okay.
Now the situation we're in currently, people can burn. We ask them not to right now and use great judgment in lighting a fire. We have a lot of residents probably in the community that over the years have just burned household refuse, garbage, things that we produce. Normally, by habit, they live out in the county. They'll go out there and light a fire. They'll go back in. Wind picks up, dry conditions. We got a fire. One thing that does happen occasionally, people will light fires. They'll think that they're burned down, safe enough to leave, and they'll leave them unattended and come back, and we have woods and buildings burned down and things of that nature. The old Smokey the Bear thing was, if you start a fire, make sure it's out before you leave.
Right.
No different here today. One thing that people do, sometimes I saw a house burn down last year from someone emptying their fireplace. They took the embers out in a bucket, put them on a small area on the back porch. Wind picked up. Those embers weren't out. Sparked that fire to come up, burnt the whole house down. Those things are dangerous, and sometimes people don't think. But even dropping your charcoal out of a grill after barbecuing or what have you, and using that grill, people sometimes will empty those things out prior to them being very cool. They'll go in the house, turn around, wood's on fire. So a lot of things that start those.
You just don't think about, you just think that it's all taken care of, and even if it is a little warm, it'll go out in a minute, and then no, because wind ignites fire.
We call those accidental fires. Typically no one wants, they're not trying to start them. People do occasionally burn fires in an arson setting, woods fires, just to keep us busy and things of that nature. And then there are accidental weather-related fires that are started by lightning.
Right.
We had one in Cherokee National Forest a couple of weeks ago, burned 125 acres up there. If you saw that fire up on Chilhowie, they worked on that thing for about a week and finally got it contained. But wind-driven fire in our conditions like Saturday was very tough to deal with.
So basically, I'm going to ask if you can just give the folks out there just some helpful tips of how to keep maybe a control burn if they have to burn, and then if not, the steps they can take to keep fires from starting. One in particular I'm thinking of too is a lot of folks, especially as we start getting, which is hard to think of now, but trust me, in a few months, somebody somewhere is going to light a fireplace because they want to use those again. And I know traditionally, if you don't have those cleaned, there's a fire waiting to happen right there when you start.
And the flue. And a lot of times they have to be professionally cleaned.
Yes.
Those chimneys will build creosote up or unburned wood products. You light that thing up, it's a tinderbox waiting to happen. So chimneys need to be professionally cleaned prior to checking those things out every
And
year.
what do you recommend? Do you recommend once a year, once every 5 years, 10 years, 2 years?
Probably once every 2 years. Now, I will tell you this: that is a professionally built chimney.
Yes.
Now, someone who puts in a wood burning stove and has the flue products that you go and buy at some of our local hardware stores, I recommend that be inspected every year prior to use. That's not like a chimney made out of brick and block.
Right.
It's a whole lot more steady, but these pipes can become dislodged and they can be dangerous if one's not inspected.
And I guess too, folks need to inspect the areas where there could be a possible danger of a fire starting. I know in our house, I worry about this all the time. Now, I don't know if it's a problem, but I've thought about it many times. But we have our house is 2-story, and down in the basement in the garage is our gas water heater. And the exhaust pipe for the gas water heater runs up through the house, through the roof. And where it comes up, it's in a closet on the top floor, and it comes up through the corner of the closet. And you go in that closet anytime, it feels like a sauna. And you could touch that thing, and it's burning hot. And I've worried before because Kim will throw stuff up on the shelves, and there'll be paper things and bags and whatever right up against that. And I'm thinking, could that start a fire? It might not. But it gets so hot that you can't even touch it sometimes.
October is Fire Prevention Month for us, all across the nation. So our push in October, we go to every school-age child in the grammar schools in Bradley County and Cleveland. City of Cleveland does that also, and talks about fire prevention to our kids. So that's when I'd like to come back and talk to you about smoke detectors.
Yes, we'd love to.
One of our messages: don't go to sleep without a working smoke detector in your house.
Absolutely.
That's the only pre-warning you can have if you're laying in bed asleep at night. It's the only pre-warning you have. The smoke's not going to wake you up. Typically, the smoke will put you in a deeper sleep. Carbon monoxide gas is produced by that smoke, and what typically gets people in fires is that smoke. They die prior to anything else happening from the smoke. So in a residential setting, smoke detectors, 100%. Don't take the battery out and put it in your remote control. Heard you guys talking about remote controls earlier, but people do that. We become complacent about how dangerous that is. The lay public cannot understand how fast a house will burn, but it happens so rapidly that one can't wrap their mind around it.
And of course you guys see this every day, so you understand it, and folks don't. You're right. But take heed. Check before you burn. Look around your home for anything that may be a potential fire hazard.
And don't burn unless you have to.
Yes.
And guys, it's going to rain this weekend. I think we're going to get some great rain Saturday and Sunday, and I know you're hoping for that.
We hope. The only problem is that we're so dry that unless we're getting some downpours consistently, a soaking rain, we're still going to have issues.
Right.
A day rain or a couple hours rain is not going to cure our problem. So, and people will think that. They'll think, oh, it rained yesterday, I'll go out and burn today.
Burn something.
But please, a couple things real quick, if I can. Don't burn unless you have to. If you have to burn, ensure that the area you're burning around is protected. You remove things, you rake the area down, you have water handy and available, and you don't leave until the fire's out.
Okay.
And put water on that fire to cool it off. And if there's any wind whatsoever, don't strike the match.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Wait for a non-windy day. This almost makes perfect sense. Well, Chief Woody, thank you for being with us this morning. We do want to have you back in October to talk about fire safety.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, you heard it.
And on such short notice.
On
You're
short
a good
notice,
man.
yeah.
You're a good man.
Man is right. Him and his wife, they always will help
That's
us
right.
out. Tennessee Valley this morning, we thank you for joining us today on this Wednesday. Have yourself a great day. If you're going to work, you better hurry up because you're running late. We'll see you next Wednesday, Joe and Kim.
Don't burn anything.
Don't burn.
Don't burn anything.
Have yourself a good week.